Hello guys and welcome to another exciting episode here on the North Farms. My name is Ezekiel. If you are new to the channel, if you've just joined us, welcome. We're so glad to have you on the family, okay? And if you are an old subscriber, I want to just tell you, you are awesome, okay? Alright, so today's video we are going to be doing something very interesting and something that most of you have been waiting for, okay? And we are going to be constructing cages. How awesome is that, right? I know. We are going to be constructing cages. So I'm going to cut out the measurements and I'll show you the dimensions of the cages and how we are going to assemble the cage. It's an all metal cage, okay? The main problem I had when I started was I didn't start very well with the mesh. As in the mesh, I didn't start with the right mesh. So along the way I was encountering problems which were continuously recurring. Anytime I repair the cage, the rabbits will spoil the cage. So I finally decided that to go in for the right material. Okay, like I always say, use the right material. Starting up right, it's very important. It's not just about gathering what's available to you at the moment immediately to start. You might start and everything will be moving on smoothly, but along the line you are going to be realizing that the losses are coming. The profits you are making, you are using it to repair, which is not economic wise, it's not making sense, right? So I'm going to be taking you through how we make the all metal cages, okay? Like I said, I will be taking you through the dimensions, how we cut the dimensions and how we assemble them, okay? But before we start doing the cutting, it's very important to know you are responsible for your own safety, okay? These wire meshes are very sharp and I can attest to it. I've already gotten my marks on my hands. So telling you, when you're dealing with something like this, make sure you protect yourself before you start doing anything, okay? All right, so let's get right quick into it. Let's go. Okay, so before I show you the various dimensions of the length and breadth of the cage, it's important you need to know what we are using to make these cages, okay? So I decided to arrange out my tools that I'm using here for you guys to get a comprehensive understanding of what we are using to make the cages, okay? So you need a pair of cutter. Well, we use a manual cutter. If you have the machine that is being used to cut, I think that one is gonna work faster for you. Then we have a pair of long nose pliers. Now this tool is very important because when you're putting the edges of the cages together, is going to help you very much, because a pair of pliers isn't going to be able to go through the various holes, because it's going to be very huge. It won't be able to enter through these holes, okay? So the pair of long nose is going to help you with that. Now you need a pair of pliers, the regular pliers. You're going to be needing it as well, and you need your your clip plier. Now this particular clip plier, it's more like the automatic one. As you can see, the staples are inside there, so you basically keep on stapling. Then there's a spring here, so it pushes the next staple next in line, so they keep on coming. Once you are pressing it, they keep on coming, okay? So, and this particular one, it's the manual one. This is the manual one. So what you do is that we have the clips inside here. So so what we do, these are the various individual clips. I think they are more like whole grains. So what you do is that you take the clip, then you put it in between the holes of the plier, then you press it for it to kind of crumple. I think I'll make an example for you to see. Okay, so as you can see, the clip is in the plier. So once you fix it like that, what you do is that you go in between the cage. Let's take it out. It's in between here. So what you do is that you basically clip it like this, and that's it. So it's going to hold the two edges of the cages together, okay? So these pair of clips are going to come, they are going to come in handy. They are going to be very useful. So What I did was I bought them online. I bought it from my kids shop. I think you can locate them in Accra. So if you want, you can place an order for them, because up here we don't have them. And of course, you are going to need tape measure, just a regular tape measure. You are going to need a tape measure to be taking the dimensions of your cage. So all right, so let's get into the the cages, the types of meshes we are using. So right now what you are looking at, it's the half by 1 inch mesh. This is the half by 1 inch mesh, and this is it's very useful because that's what we are going to use for the floor. Okay, so I've cut out the dimension, I've cut it out. It's 6 feet long. It's a 6 feet long mesh, and the width, how wide it's going to be, it's 2 feet. As you can see, it's exactly 2 feet, so it's 2 feet wide. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be dividing it into 2 cages, because I'm making dough cages, and the dough cages need to be large enough to accommodate the dough and its litter. Okay, so those are two different sets of cages you are looking at, and I'll be working on them. But I would like to show you what we've done so far, because we are not just starting now. We started some couple of days way back. So as you can see, this is what we've worked on so far. And there are 3 cages. As you can see, there are 3 different sets of cages. Okay, these are the 3 different sets of cages. So this is the portion where you'll be fixing in here, because I've already talked extensively on the benefits of hay and the reasons why you need to ensure that your rabbits have hay always. So once you harvest your hay, how you feed it to your animals, you are going to basically stuff the hay inside here. Okay, and this is going to be the door. So what they do is that they are going to be let me take you in. They are going to be feeding from this section. Okay, you fix the hay at the top. You'll be fixing the hay at the top whilst they feed from this section. Okay, so it's going to be very convenient. It's going to be a very convenient cage for them. And like I said, the walls of the cage isn't the same as the half by one. I'm using the 1 by 1 inch mesh. As you can see, this one, the holes are much larger. When you look at it, the holes are much larger as compared to the floor. You realize that the floor, the spaces are much smaller. Once you look at it, you see that the spaces are much smaller, but once you come to the walls, they are much large. So this is a 1 by 1 inch mesh, and that is the 1 by 1/2 inch mesh. Okay, this is what we are basically using for the floor, because it's going to permit the poop and the urine of the rabbits to fall through, but not the rabbits or the rabbit bunnies themselves. So we are making such cages, ensure that the 1 by 1/2 is used for the floor. Okay, and you use the 1 by 1 for the sides and the various partitionings. Okay, so basically I used the 1 by 1 for the whole body of the cage. I used the 1 by 1 for the whole body of the cage. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So let's continue with our video. Okay, so when you're beginning the joining of the edges, it's very important you make sure they align. You make sure they align before you clip the clips to the cages. Okay, so we've started, and what you're going to do is that you realize that what you do, you press the 2 sides of the cages together. So this where your pair of long nose pliers is gonna come in handy. Okay, so what you do is that press them together like this. In between, you put the clips and you press gently to hold them together, firmly together. Okay, so when you are clipping, you realize that using clips becomes a bit tricky when you are wearing gloves. So when it's time for clipping the various edges, what I do is that I take off my gloves. But if you can use them with your gloves on, please go ahead and still wear your gloves, because like I said, you are responsible for your own safety. Okay, so that's what I wanted to alert to you before we move to the middle of the video, because it's really important you see some of these tips when you're constructing your cages. You get at least you've already been updated on some of these few tips to look out for when you're constructing your cages. Okay, so after stitching the various sides together, this is what it's going to look like. So what we are going to do is that we are going to measure 3 feet from the end to this place, which is going to be the middle. Then we're going to partition it into two compartments. So this mesh is, we're using the 1x1 mesh, 1x1 inch mesh. So that's what we're going to use to to divide to partition the full cage into two compartments. So I'm going to show you how we attach the the length is 2 feet. It's 2 feet long, and the height here is 1 feet and 18 inches. Okay, like I said, 1 feet and 18 inches high, 2 feet long. Okay, this is how we are going to attach the middle mesh. So we are going to hold it with a long nose, then we clip it in a diagonal form to hold the two meshes together. Okay, so that's what we are going to do to the base. Then we move towards the other side, we work towards the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna get it done, then I'll okay, so we are just about adding the top layer, which is this one. Okay, so it's basically the same dimension. The full length of it is going to be 6 feet, then the wideness is going to be 2 feet wide. Then yeah, then basically that's it. So we are going to attach it to the top. Then the next step would be to cut the doors. So I'm going to attach it, then we'll see how the doors two are equally cut out. Okay, so after you cut the door, this is what it's going to look like. You realize that these edges are very, very sharp. This is what I was talking about. If you were cutting and you cut it immediately at this portion, you realize that, let me make a cut for you to see what I'm talking about. Good. So when you look at it, you realize that that portion is very, very sharp, and once you're putting in your hand there, it's going to cut you. Okay, so what we do instead is that you make it to overlap. Then you take your pair of pliers. This is where the plier comes in handy. So you bend it. What you do is that you bend it to the other side, so it's going to look like this. That way, when you're putting in your hand, there's no sharp edge there that can cut you as compared to this section, because this section it's always very, very sharp. So you need to be looking out for things like this when you're cutting. Make sure you make it overlap so that you can bend it. Okay, you can bend it in or out depending on the angle that the mesh is. Okay, so that's exactly what we are going to do. we're going to do to this section, that section, to the whole of the section. Okay, so let me just do that. We've bent all the edges. As you can see, the edges are all bent. So now it's going to be very safe for our animals. Okay, it's going to be very safe for our animals and for us to the farmers as well, because when you are putting in your hand to attend to the rabbits, it's very crucial to know that bringing out your hand, you wouldn't get wounds from them. Okay, and it's also going to protect the rabbits too when you're bringing out the rabbits, so that they don't get hurt by the edges of the cage. So the next one would be to fix the hay rack where we put the hay. Now this is the mesh we cut from the door, what we cut out of the door. So now this isn't going to go waste. This is what we're going to use to make the hay rack. Okay, so I'm going to cut off these edges, which are very sharp. Obviously I'm going to cut off those edges, and we are going to use it to make the hay racks. So when you cut out the door, this what, so I've cut out all those sharp edges. Okay, so you might be wondering why I left this particular portion, and it's because of the same reason, because this is the particular place you are going to be dipping in your hand to put in the hay inside. Okay, so we're basically going to bend it like we did to the door. So now what we're going to do is that with our piece of wood, then with the hammer, we are going to bend these sides. We're going to bend these sides. Okay, we bend this side, then we come here, then we bend the other side as well. So we've bent the edges of the entrance for the hay rack. So what we are going to do is that we are going to align it with the entrance of the gate. So it's going to be on the same line. So we ensure the end here matches with the lane that is going here, so that we can clip the edges on it and ensure that this lane here also matches with the end going upwards. So you would go from the inside here, then you clip. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put one here, then when we go to the edges, we then put, I think, about 3 up there. So we fixed the door and we fixed the hay rack, and as you can see now it's okay. So we feed in from here, then the rabbits will feed from the inside. The holes are big enough for the rabbit to pull out the hay. Okay, so assuming they were of this nature, if they were of this nature, so it means we have to cut here, then cut there, to give them enough room for them to pull out the grasses from the hay rack. Okay, so once we are done with this, we are going to move to that one. So it means I'll cut out the door, use the mesh from the door to make one of these. Down, we don't require any form of measurement, because basically it's from here. Okay, it's from here, so you just use it to make the hay rack. Okay, we just fixed the last one. So our very last step would be to fix the doors. Obviously fixing the doors doesn't take much. You just have to make sure you get the right dimensions, so that you can be able to fit in very well, because the rabbits will always try to go out. So it's good you make sure you fix the door very well. So we are going to cut the door frames, then we'll fix them too as well. Okay, so we just fixed the doors. So we basically did it using some of the clips. So let me take you behind. When you look, that's how it was fixed. So basically you don't need anything to fix it. You just use the mesh and the clips that we use to hold the cage together. So as you can see, I basically clipped them about 5 inches apart. We're having like 5 inch difference, so to make sure that there are no openings at the base of the cage. So this is the second door, and it was also clipped with the same format. So as you can see, it overlaps to the top. This is the beginning of the cage, but it overlaps to the top, okay, so that from inside, when the rabbit pulls it, it doesn't get into the cage with force. When you come to the base, it's the same thing. It aligns about an inch difference, okay. So let me give you an overview of how the cage is going to how the cage will look like. So that's the full cage. It's 6 feet long with partitionings of 3 feet each, with wideness of 2 feet wide, and with the height of 1 feet and 18 inches high, okay. So this is how it will look like. So the next thing to do is to find, I'm not really sure whether I should use metallic poles or I should use wood to make the stand. I'm still thinking. So hopefully I'll be able to decide on which option to use. I would be able to decide on which options to use. So basically that's what I wanted to share with you. Okay guys, so basically that's what I have for you. I hope you've learned a thing or two, and how to make cages on your own, because up north here it's always very difficult to it's always very difficult to get these meshes. So basically what we had to do was that we had to import them from Accra, okay. And some of the accessories like the clips and the plier clip, all those things were all imported. So once you're able to acquire some of these materials, it's good, you should be able to build it on your own, okay. So looking at it, you realize that um importing a fully made cage from let's take it from Kumasi, Accra, it's going to cost you more, okay. And economic wise, this doesn't take much, okay. I've not engaged in any form of training. I've just watched some several videos and tutorials on how to make cages on your own at home, okay. And I've been able to do it. If you have questions, if you have clarifications, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll do my possible best to reply to each and every one of them, okay. And if you don't understand a particular section in this video, feel free to drop it in the comment section. I'll do my best to reply to it as soon as possible, so that you get a full understanding of how these cages are made at home, okay. It's going to benefit you a lot in the long run. Just imagine you go on a commercial scale. You can't keep on buying cages, okay. You can't keep on buying cages. It's good you get some people, that's if you're not directly into the farming process. You get train some people to learn how to make these cages. You could be a rabbit farmer, but this is also another stream of income that you could get from, okay. If you train yourself to build these cages, in the long run you will be building cages for other farmers as well. It will bring you extra income. So hope you loved the video, and be sure to give us a like, and also most importantly share and subscribe to the channel. The analytics are still showing most of our viewers aren't subscribing, so please just do me a favor right now, Okay, just do me a favor and go and subscribe to the channel, and also share it to family and friends who have interest in farming. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.